Third, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item CI1 has been pulled. Any persons wishing, there's a proclamation declaring the week of October 21st, 2012 as Red Ribbon Week. Whereas families and communities have been affected by the numerous problems associated with the use and addiction of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and whereas youth encounter decisions about using alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs as early as their elementary school years, and whereas it is critical to reach youth, whereas it's critical to reach youth with anti-drug messages and encouragement to remain drug-free, and whereas California has led the nation in making expansive investments in ambitious prevention education programs, advocating that communities and individuals continue prevention education programs and activities that discourage the abuse of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and whereas the Asian American Drug Abuse Program, Inc., ADAPT, Inc., and Youth United and Creative Action are participating in the nationwide effort to raise awareness for parents and community members regarding substance abuse prevention to protect our youth. Now, therefore, be it known that the mayor and council members of the city of Inglewood, California, do hereby proclaim October 21st to 27th, 2012 as Red Ribbon Week in the city of Inglewood, presented the 23rd day of October. Do we have anyone that this is going to be presented to? It doesn't look like. Oh, okay. Why don't we come over here by the...
I don't even have any gas in the car. I hope not. I'm gonna try to make it. I think I can. Yeah. If it gets crazy, I'll just check.
Stand right here, next to the award. Put your hand on it so you can get it crystal.
I know. It's getting me out of my seat.
Yeah.
Now, how long we gonna be tonight?
I have no idea. But it looks like it'll be.
It ain't like they got that much on their agenda.
It ain't the agenda. It's the people.
I know.
I thought that we had a message from Congresswoman Waters, but I don't see her in the audience, so we're going to move forward with public comment. Any persons wishing to address the council on any item on today's agenda other than closed session may do so at this time. And remember that CI1 has been pulled.
Alfonso Parker, Jr. I'm a Vietnam vet, but that's not what I'm here about this right now. On page 3, Council Initiative C1, CI1.
It was pulled, sir.
Oh, CI1 is pulled, sir.
Huh?
CI1 was pulled.
It was pulled?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Is there a reason for that?
The councilman that initiated the author pulled it for now.
Next week? Oh, is there gonna be one next week with
Okay.
voting?
Okay, all right. Any other public comment?
Good evening, council members. It's amazing that we have an agenda with just only, it seems like, one item on it, other than the traditional reports from the treasurer and that. I think that it's interesting that it's quite so small. I would have hoped that you had spread the other items of significance out, because this is almost a sad adventure for the people who actually have to show up to be here for just a short period of time. Of course, I think that the Public Works Director should be able to deal with administrative things on the highway because, well, so many of you don't know anything else about highway systems. He does have that experience, I would hope, or perhaps you should not have hired him. And I would hope that as he discovers how interesting our community is, that he does stay for some time. There are so many different things in Public Works that are going to be a surprise to him, I'm sure. But I want to express my absolute appreciation for the great work that Public Works did when the shuttle did come through. That is the department that did an excellent job. I wish I could say that for the rest of the departments involved. I'm also going to take the opportunity to say that if in fact we have another world-class or wonderful opportunity that are elected, remember that it isn't always about them themselves. As I sat there and watched the astronauts be ignored, I was a little bit annoyed because that probably spoke louder than anything that was said at the dais. To ignore the men who risked their lives while they were off in the corner, and some of you were taking your photo ops for the next election, it's really sad. And you know, some of us saw that and almost wanted to cry because those men and the one young lady were sitting in seats by themselves, unattended, prior to the event and after the event. It's almost as though they were trophies to show, then throw in the garage. So I'd hope as we go forward, and you can shake your head all you want, we have pictures of them being ignored, that you remember that. And since there was that, it's important for you to remember that you represent this community, not just yourselves.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. I'm not too sure whether, I'm on the right track here or not, but Public Works, I would like something that I have been trying to get done for the last 10 years, and that is slurry the walking track at Darby Park. I would love to see that done before we have Martin Luther King's.
But Mr. Eady, that's not on this agenda.
That's not, it's not on the Public Work?
It's federally funded highway.
Yeah,
I think
this is highways.
he has the 6 o'clock meeting agenda. There's
Oh.
a couple of different agendas out there for each
That was
segment.
the 6 o'clock, but no, right, this is fairly high funded highway program, so you're gonna have to come back in the,
Oh, okay, I'll do it later.
all right, thank you.
Where are the congresswomen?
Congresswoman Waters is joining us, and she has a message for us, and we are very fortunate to be represented by her. She's done great work in Washington for a very long time, and is quite a role model for service. And so, Congresswoman, we welcome you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to stop by and say hello to all of you and to all of our staff, city clerk and treasurer. It's good to be here. I haven't been here for a long time. And so I'm delighted to have an opportunity just to share a few things with you very quickly. Of course, we are in the presidential election year, and November 6th is so very important for all of us. This may be one of the most important elections of our lifetime. So it is important that people get out to vote. I wanted to share with you that the 35th Congressional District has changed substantially. We have added, through reapportionment, new areas, and it is now the 43rd Congressional District. Included in the new areas, in addition to Inglewood and to Westchester and Playa Vista and Playa del Rey and Hawthorne and Gardena and Lawndale, we now have North Torrance, Harbor Gateway, West Carson, Harbor City, Lameda, and Lenox. And so that's making up now the 43rd Congressional District. It is quite diverse. It is a long stretch from Westchester down to Lameda and Harbor City. And so we're going to find ourselves, if we're very successful in this election, traveling long distances rather than the kind of compact areas we've had before. Having said that, my most important message to you this evening is what is going on in Washington with what is known as sequestration. This is the agreement that was made between the members of Congress and the White House about how to deal with the budget cuts. As a matter of fact, it was during the debates and the negotiations on raising the debt ceiling that we were basically forced into a corner to accept an agreement that said we would have tremendous cuts across the board in all of federal government. And what that portends for the cities is just awesome, because that means that CDBG, the home program, it means that even, the disability benefits for housing, it means public housing, everything is going to be cut. HUD will be cut, and probably all of them will be cut by at least 8% or more. And so we have to fight to try and get involved in negotiations that will save our cities. When we go back to negotiate, we will be negotiating with those who want to save all of the defense budget and make all of these cuts to our social programs and our safety net programs. And so we need advocacy. We need organized pushback. We need you to send letters and to email and to contact all of the elected officials on both sides of the aisle and the President of the United States to urge them not to cut all of our safety net programs and not to undermine the cities with these cuts, that if there are negotiations going on, that there have to be cuts also to defense. And the most important part of this negotiation is there must be fair taxes, that the richest 1% who have been given tax breaks over the past administrations must be made to pay their fair share of taxes so that we won't have to make as deep cuts as we're anticipating have to make. So that's my message to you this evening. Get everybody that you know, all of your constituents, emailing, faxing, telephoning, and putting pressure on all elected officials on both sides of the aisle to hold the line and to make sure that we get the revenue from fair taxation and that we not make the cuts in all of our social programs, but rather we will have to cut defense also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're troublemaker.
Mayor,
Thank you very much.
See you. Councilwoman Dunlap.
Yes, I'd like to welcome Congressman Waters to our council chambers.
Yes.
And when you made the comment you haven't been here in a long time,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, she means inside this little room, because she's in our community all of the time. She helps us to celebrate Martin Luther King holiday, our Veterans Day, Memorial Day, the Endeavor. She is here all of the time. We're very lucky to have her. She does a wonderful job for us. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And also, I just want to echo the same sentiments as my colleague, but I also thank you, Congresswoman, for fighting for the city of Inglewood and our constituency. you bring money to the city. Particularly just recently, she was part of a coalition that was instrumental in Congress to bring through the Department of Transportation $545.9 million for our Crenshaw LAX line that we're bringing to the city. And I just want to personally thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
But more important than that, though, she is helping us seek a fairness in the trenching of the two intersections, Florence and Eucalyptus and Florence and Centinela. The MTA wants those considered betterments for us to pay an additional $25 to $30 million for that trenching. And I've reached out to our office, as we've constantly worked with the MTA and Mayor Villaraigosa's office, to have it understood that that's not really a betterment, it's a necessity for our community. Because economically, for the city, it would have been better had that line gone down Prairie to Century and been trenched all the way, because that would have been our new economic core.
Right.
They went down the train tracks because that was cheapest for them to come through the city. So at the very least, they should trench Florence Sentinel and Florence and Eucalyptus and not interrupt the Faithful Bible Church or the egress and egress of children coming from St. Mary's going home into the neighborhoods. And the Congresswoman has been an open ear for us, and I want to thank her for that.
Thank you very much. And I did mention that when we had the press conference. I mentioned Inglewood and our concerns, and I will continue to fight for fairness and to make sure that they do the right thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Any further public comment? All right, we'll close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Move
Warrant
allow
reg-
payment of the bills.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Dunlap.
No.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Item 2.
That's the consent calendar.
Oh.
Item number 2.
I
Move.
so move.
Second. Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Dunlap.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR1.
Is a staff report recommending adoption of a resolution authorizing the Public Works Director to act on behalf of the City of Inglewood on matters associated with the administration and implementation of various federal-funded highway programs.
Move adoption.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Dunlap.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. CM1. A1.
Thank you. As to closed session number 1, which is a closed session confidential regarding labor negotiations. Regarding labor negotiations with IBO, SEIU, IBO, IPOA, IPMA, IPCMA, the negotiations for the city were already filled. City manager and Jack Austin, chief negotiator. Excuse me.
They said they couldn't hear you, sir.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Campos.
Sorry, Mr. Campos.
Go ahead, Mr. Campos.
Red light's on or red light's on?
Now you're on, now you're on.
Okay. I'll try it that one. Closed session number 2 was a confidential attorney-client privilege pending litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, City of Inglewood versus Inglewood Unified School District. Discussion was held, no further action taken. Item number CS3, which is a closed session, confidential attorney-client privilege, potential litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9B1, the claim of Buchtweiler and Nemmer. There's a request for a motion for payment of the bill.
So move.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Dunlap.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
As to CS4, closed session, confidential, attorney-client privilege, potential litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9B1, regarding a claim of Burt Porter investigation. There's a request for a payment of the bill.
So move.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Dunlap.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
As to CS5, closed session, confidential, attorney-client privilege, potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9B1, regarding the claim of Bergman and Dacey. Again, a motion for a payment of the bill.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Dunlap.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
And no verbal reports.
CC1?
No reports, thank you.
Welcome back, Madam City Treasurer. CT1?
It's the monthly treasurer's report for the month ending July 31st, 2012.
Receive and file. CT2?
You too.
Madam City Treasurer?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
There's only
We should.
let's go.
I'd like to give a brief summary of the Treasurer's report for the month of July 2012 for the City of Inglewood, and also there's copies outside on the table for the public to follow along with me. For the City of Inglewood, funds under investment was $94,001.30, and the interest earnings, $84,466. For the successor agency, $107,226,694, and the interest earnings, $112. Housing Authority, $100,136, and the Public Finance Authority, $33,259,757, and the total funds under investment is $234,587,617. And the presentation also have very nice charts that you can follow along to see what the breakup of the funds is. And so you might want to take a look at that also. And also, I'd like to mention that I did attend an excellent conference at the Bond Buyers. It was held in San Francisco, and I had a number of excellent sessions. There was one very good session on the realignment of the California budget, and also economic development and local infrastructure financing in post-RDA era. Also an excellent session on direct lending, and I attended a very, very good session on the new money market order. And that was held again in San Francisco, Tuesday through Friday. And also, just to give a summarization of the bills for the month of October, thus far has been $8.7 million for the bills that have been paid. The net payroll has been roughly about $1.2 million, and the total for the month is approximately $10 million. And also would like to mention with regards to the bank failures, we've had one FDIC shut down 3 banks over the weekend of October the 19th, with assets totaling $426.9 million, and the cost to the FDIC was $86.1 million. Thus far, we've had 46 banks that has failed in the year 2012, and the total assets of these failed banks is $10.2 billion, and the loss to the FDIC is $2.3 billion. All told, we've had a total of 463 banks that have failed, with total assets of these failed banks of $692.4 billion. And the loss to the FDIC has been $84.8 billion. And again, we have roughly about 324 banks that were bailed out, and of these banks, 164 have not actually paid back all of their TARP money, and these are most of the small banks. And thus far, they still owe a little over $11 billion. And just one interesting article that appeared, and I saw over the internet, but I'm sure it appears in some of the local papers, regarding some of the senior officials, particularly in the city of Hawthorne, that have actually resigned, and their payout for a time that they did not use was $879,400. Again, this is for time that they did not use. And for the little city of Lawndale, it has been a little over $100,522. Again, this is for time that they have not used. Hermosa Beach, $80,700. And the beat goes on. That concludes my remarks and my report.
Thank you, Madam City Treasurer. Going to, make sure I'm on the right agenda. Going to convene the call to order the Inglewood Housing Authority, Madam City Clerk.
A quorum is present.
H2.
Mayor, we can finish, we'll just have to go back. Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending July 31st, 2012.
Receive and file, adjourn the Housing Authority. Call to order the City of Inglewood as the successor agency.
Yeah, thank
Madam
you.
City Clerk.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending July 31st, 2012.
Receive and file, adjourn the City of Inglewood as successor agency. Call to order the Inglewood Public Finance Authority.
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending July 31st, 2012.
Receive and file, adjourn the Inglewood Public Financing Authority. Public comments. Any persons wishing to address City Council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time. Yes.
I want to say hello to the leaders and the mayor and council members. My name is P.P. Nichols, and I'm from the High-Tech Valley. What I would really like to speak on in respect for different offices here. Can everybody hear me?
You pull the mic a little closer to yourself. Pull the mic up a little bit. There you go.
Okay. I have problems sometimes hearing what I have to say. The Inglewood City Council meeting is seen on television weekly, and it's a big disgrace, which I'm a part of this community. Everyone that watches this committee meeting states that the presentations here are very disrespectful. It's almost like Barack Obama, how they did him. And I mean, it's time that we as leaders show leadership, especially for the children of Inglewood. There's no respect for the mayor, none of this position. And you know, if you were sitting in that seat and you were the instructor, you would say, your time is up, girl. And the child or the person would say, okay, and that's what is supposed to occur. It's such a pity that you put these people in position and then you find that there is no respect for them. I want to thank you very much. And a lot of my colleagues feel the same way that I do that lives at the Heights of Ladero, because that's where I have my contact at. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Any further public comment? Please, sir.
My name is Alfonso Parker, Jr. I'm a Vietnam veteran, 66, 67. I haven't seen Maxine Waters since August 2009 at her town hall meeting at Southwest, where I told her when I had my few minutes at the mic there that I was a Vietnam veteran with a claim since March of 95 from my Agent Orange. She told me that she would look into it, and I got a response 2 weeks later that I'd never been in the military, and I've been trying to deal with this ever since. And I presented it to Stephen C. Bradley a week or so, or 2 weeks ago, DD 214 fraudulent from the United States Army with the presidential seal. And having had secret clearances all my life, need to know and special access in the aerospace business, I know how it works. And when you process a fraudulent document, federal document, first of all, the requirement is you must report that document, secure it, call their people, they come and take a note, take it from you and process and find out where it come from. And for Maxine Waters people to look at this in 2009 and then process it as a legitimate document, that's a federal crime. And now, like I said, I spoke to Stephen Bradley's representative, and here's the original with the presidential seal, which with my originals that I have, the original one that was given to you. And now I'm in the process, which he has me going to Barbara Boxer and this other senator from California. My next process also, I'd like to go before the full Congress, which is my right as an American citizen, because it says we the people, and present my case. This is not about money for me. This is about every veteran. We talk about the way our economy is in the city of Inglewood. Our schools have been taken over, and we no longer have control over them. In order to get the money you did get, the veterans, you have a building right here with veterans with money coming up the yang. And if they get their money from the VA, which by the way is the Army since 1930, This is child support money can go to your children. Because before any veteran or anybody else, as you know, the system changed. Before you get any money, you got to come in, whether it's a lotto number, your money, if child support, whatever, or it gets pulled first. This is money, millions of dollars. I don't know how many veterans you got, but quite a few. This money would be spent in the city of Inglewood. And if a veteran like me, single with no kids, if I could drink up almost $5,000, which is impossible, a month, you know how much taxes would be in the Inglewood coffers? You would not be in this dire situation. And for these politicians to do this under ethics, this is not ethics. When you mess with federal documents and don't report it and process it, that is an act of treason and espionage, because these are federal documents. You can't do it, I can't do it, nobody.
For your time, thank you.
Oh, one more quick. Our police doing the, give me my minutes, you never did, give it to me. This is about our police.
Go ahead.
That was the most beautiful thing that I saw in Inglewood when that endeavor came through Manchester. We were warned not to be on the streets and be on private property. People were all over that thing. People from Westchester, they followed it like a parade, all up undertaking. And do you know, I was right there in the mix because I live on Manchester. Do you know that unless there's something I don't know, our police were beautiful. There was no knocking heads. They were communicating with the community. Community was communicating. I don't think crime went down. They say in L.A. they didn't talk about Inglewood. Nobody does. They talk about what came through Inglewood. They say Torrance. I'm sorry, South Bay. They don't even mention Inglewood. That was the most beautiful example. I haven't seen that since I left back east where I come from, where police relate to the community like I saw that day. It was beautiful, and we need to commend our police. It was beautiful, from the people and the police. They were all mixed up with each other. Police said, back up. They backed up. There was not a problem. Even the ones we look down on, be careful who you look down on, by the way. There go I, except for the grace of God. They were nice. It was beautiful. And I'm not talking about the foreign where all these people that woman was talking about photo hopping. I'm talking about in the street.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Joseph Texera. I'm here to condemn the unethical and almost certainly illegal way that every member of the City Council, not just the mayor, but the entire council, including my councilman Mike Stevens, continues to hide from the public documented evidence of serious IPD misconduct that has endangered and may continue to endanger Inglewood's residents. Over a year ago, I requested public records from the city, including IPD recordings where you hear, just for instance, that IPD refused to investigate a shooting, refused to even try to talk to the victims, refused to look for evidence, but told me to collect bullet shells off the street for them. And that IPD's excuse for not looking for the victim, my neighbor's son, was that there was probably a reason that he was shot at. And for months, this city council actually helped IPD, the city attorney's office, and whoever else illegally withhold those public records, hiding violations of the law by IPD, the city, and the city council. Now, since my coming here month after month forced IPD and the city to release some of the recordings, this council is now trying to say that the Brown Act bans me from playing those public records, those IPD recordings. This way, the council keeps the public from hearing those tapes, and it keeps itself, the council, from hearing the tapes in public, so that you can say later that you didn't know what was on them. That is the most desperate, pathetic, and unsustainable excuse yet. There is just too much evidence that that is a deliberate lie. This is the Brown Act. It takes about an hour to read. This is the Attorney General of California's guide to the Brown Act. Takes about 15 minutes to read. I've read them both, and due diligence requires that each of you read them both, because if the Brown Act doesn't ban the public from using audio recordings, which it doesn't, then every member of this council is violating the law and their oaths of office to defend the U.S. Constitution, because you will be violating the U.S. Constitution in order to protect yourselves and hide IPD misconduct. I swear on TV I will give $100 to the first city councilman, the city attorney, the city clerk that can find one sentence in either one of these documents that bans the public from playing audio recordings as part of their public comments. You will not find it. Go ahead, shut me up, take my money. I'm begging you, prove me wrong. But you can't do it, because if you could have done it, you would do it. All you're doing is lying, trying to protect yourselves.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. It is a pleasure to address you. My name is Margaret Richards Bowers, and I'm a resident of Ladera Heights in the Inglewood Unified School District. And tonight, I'm here to tell you that I'm supporting a measure on the ballot on November 6th called Measure GG. And I'm asking each and every one of you to please let your constituents know how important this measure is for the children of the Inglewood Unified School Districts. I've raised 2 sons. They're adults now, but they had a marvelous education here. And I think that it is my responsibility, as well as the responsibility of all of the citizens of Inglewood and this district, to support the future. The young people you saw here tonight, the children who live in your city, they are the future. So I ask you, it's a $90 million bond, and it's going to help facilities upgrade and to bring technology to the classroom. Our school district has other issues, but as a citizen, this is how I can help. And I ask you to join me, support Measure GG, and let's lift the children up. As the endeavor went by, I had to get a picture standing by it to send out to the voters. And my thought behind that was, per ardua ad astra, or per aspera ad astra. Let's lift these children up to the heights. It's going to be difficult, but please help us do that. So I expect that each and every one of you would listen tonight, and it will touch your hearts. You will call your constituents and you would say, let us lift these children up. The endeavor, if another endeavor shall ever pass through our streets, our children would have been a part of that, not just onlookers. So thank you very much, and I appreciate being able to address you here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Ray Davis, 2nd District. I'll be quick. Congratulations, once and for all. And from there, I want to make some sombering statements. I'll save the worst for last. Also, this is a good one. Welcome back, Madam Treasurer. We missed you. Feeling a whole lot better. Guys with your law. Mayor, council, staff, I'm sure you guys keep up with what's going on of our community, of course, and the surrounding community. Tell me if you think I'm wrong or right, but there's been a rash of malfeasance. The mayor of Hawthorne, 2nd one in a row, went down, and over something that, on all appearances, is so petty. $2,000. $2,000. The last one, what did he go down for? Stealing a pizza machine or something? What in the wide world of sports are people thinking? That's a probably self-fulfilling statement, but Mayor and council, I'm just saying, watch out. Keep your T's crossed and your I's dotted. I mean, the city of Los Angeles' real estate assessor, the guy that put values on everyone's home, one of his agents arrested. Is it this easy to buy people? It's amazing. And was my final thoughts. I'm sure it's probably already been brought to everyone's attention. Something horrible that took place in the city. The whole family is decimated. A good man, a good father, a good husband. Just like the fellow died shielding his children. Better man than I am. I hope that you in this meeting is honored. And, that, stay strong, people. days haven't come out of the darkness yet. Got a
Thank you,
ways.
Mr. Davis.
Good evening. My name is Diane Zambrano, and I came prepared to invite everyone to go to, well, let's see, at SC at the Doheny Library this Saturday. There will be a collection of over 75 historic academic types celebrating the joys of history. For some of the fan club members of several of our elected who think I only do negative things, I have 2 entire books out here, photographs, that show the joys of the positive things of the Historical Society of Centinela Valley. We have 400 and 500 people at each one of our events. And I know the clock is ticking, and I know we should all join in a chorus of Worship the Clock, so I'll speedily move on to the next item. I thought about singing, but somebody took a couple of my seconds. I know that's the only important thing that matters in this room is worshiping that clock. So I'll take the last couple of seconds to tell you why I would very much hope that most of you who did not serve on the Measure K Oversight Committee, and those of you who did not watch the school board quickly spend all of its money, giving it to friends and families and people who have been forbidden to ever work for other entities, like the Los Angeles Community Colleges, for at least 4 years, that perhaps we ought to make sure that the City of Inglewood's Unified School District actually get its house in order before we start throwing more money at them. You see, it's always been my contention that unless there is an inspector general, which was only hired for a few months in the past, was not given an office nor a secretary nor a computer, that was frivolous and foolish. And all those $133 million plus the matching funds gave us very little of what was promised. I come from a long line of educators. One of my family members is the longest serving superintendent in the entire United States. I have an aunt who teaches at Harvard. I believe that children deserve an education equal to that which I received in the Inglewood Unified School District. However, Inglewood Unified School District does not do that today. And we can see that simply by how they did not manage their money well and now have been taken over by the state. So I would hope that everyone reserve their dollars until the house goes back into order. A wall never taught a student. It takes dedicated teachers, and we do have some, but not all of ours are currently credentialed. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Annette Lewis, 4th District. I too have a little concern regarding the Measure GG as the taxpayers. And of course that we're still paying on Measure K, that we were supposedly we mortgaged our homes and what have you. We'll still have that mortgage on our homes, which is about on there for 30 years. And of course now they're asking for more. When I look at the, and it kind of is confusing, it's simply because you got 4 things on the ballot this year regarding education. And if the state has taken over our school, where does this money go to? Who is in charge? Who is going to handle this money? One of the things of it is that we just always throw money at everybody. Just money don't fix everything. And sometimes, again, like the young lady just left here, say we need dedicated teachers and whatever to do so. And when I look at flyers that folks send out with all of the asking you to support things, those people don't live here. They're not paying these taxes on whatever that is stuck to you. You're asking for $90 million again to be put on our taxes, to be put for the homeowners to pay, to educate children, to fix the walls and stuff for the kids. That was what Measure K was about in the first place. It was supposedly to build new schools and to repair the schools. But when I look at who's the chairman, and when you look at the list of names on it, And then you see some of the same people who was on the school board and who was over the oversight committee before is still there, asking you to send more money. It is so unfortunate that we, as a people that does have children and not being able to watch over our money, think that we are choosing people who are going to take good care of our interests. And they're not doing that. You're not doing it. And so I'm just saying, the confusion is, what is Measure 30 doing? What is Measure 38 going to do? What is Measure something for the community college? You asking for money for that. Now you got another measure for Inglewood. I mean, what do you think? We all have problems. We all got, in this economy, everybody is coming to the homeowners. We are kind of like a little bit tired of being the ATM for all of these programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council staff. My name is Aldine Sly. And I have been to a few meetings, but I would like to echo the sentiments of Lewis. We're still paying on KK, which has resulted in disaster since we've lost control of our school system. And I don't believe in throwing good money after bad. Thank you, Yvonne Horton, for explaining why I'm voting for the first time in my life. I have to vote in Los Angeles. But it did help with explaining about splitting up the districts. I can't believe that go almost a half mile this year. But so be it. I do want to, there's another subject that I'd like to bring up that I think I wait. Anyway, I do not agree with GG. And I do request that everyone in Inglewood is eligible to vote. Whatever you vote, however you vote, do it. We are in dire straits right now. And if the wrong party gets in office, you might as well hang it up. So please, everyone who's eligible, please vote. We've got a lot of people dying for this opportunity in the past. And I know I had to fight my battles because I was in that generation. So don't take it for granted. Thank you.
Theola Gardner. Mayor, council, and other supporting staff. I'm in District 1. I have been a teacher for 45 years, 40 of them in Inglewood, in Los Angeles. I have not taught in Inglewood, but I've lived in Inglewood for over 50 years. I feel that I know school systems very well and how money is used. It is supposedly for school systems. I was very much aware of KK and what it was supposed to do for schools. I did not see what KK did for schools, or if the abundance of money that was collected from homeowners was actually used for schools, students, and school buildings. I'm very disappointed that many ballots come along asking for money for schools, and then it disappears. And I can't help but know, because I'm working in a school every day for 40 years. And I do not see the progress
of improvement that the schools are supposed to benefit from. I'm disappointed in so many of the requests on our ballot for money for schools again. And I am not satisfied that that money will be properly spent. I would never be against anything for schools. That has been my life. I've been a lifetime teacher. And when a person who has put in and dedicated the time that they have and then feel disappointment in the leadership, in the way that community, homeowners are used to support persons that do not use money where it's supposed to be delegated to go. It has come to the point where I feel that I'm being an advocate for wrongdoings. And I cannot support these measures that are constantly coming after homeowners for money for schools, but it's not being spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon.
My name is Willie A.G. First, I want to say, in this month of October, there's two things that's happened in this city that has made me really, really proud. Number one was the Endeavor. That was one of the most successful things that ever happened here in this city. And I tell you, I saw people cry. They were so happy. Something that the people of Inglewood could be happy about. That tells me that some of the people on that dais is doing something right. You know. Number two, I went to a dentist today. The name of the business is Smiling Studio. I had to cry. This is a black woman that has done something the first time I've seen in this city. At 3300 West Manchester. I want to tell you this. You walk in that day. Above Beverly Hills. It is so, I just couldn't believe what she took that old restaurant and turned it into. I mean, you know, I'm not suggesting that you go there, get your own work done. This woman has made me proud as a black person. You make me proud as a black person that I believe that we can do anything that anybody else do, and I'm tired of people sitting like waiting for somebody else to do something for us. She didn't wait. She did it. The last 4 or 5 people that got up here and spoke, I support them. I used to be involved with education. I would love to see the people that were responsible put in jail, in my opinion. People that's on the school board, they should be investigated. You shouldn't be permitted to come into a city and destroy a good school district like that and then just walk away free. I would like to see the city of Inglewood take over the school district. I don't like the idea of the state running it. Probably be just as bad as the 5 people on that school board. Destroyed. Beautiful school district, and when I moved to Inglewood, it was outstanding district. These people destroyed it. They fired all the people that was really building the school district.
Mr. Agee.
1 minute?
No, your time, but finish up. I'll give you 10 seconds.
You know what? I want to see the school board, all of them put in jail.
Mayor, before closing, Mayor, Before you do the closing marks for the council, I want to just explain what's happening with the voting, if I could, just because there are some people who are confused. Thank you.
Sir? Yes.
My name is Joe Bowers. I live in the Inglewood School District, and I also live in Ladera Heights, and I'm supporting Measure GG. I think it's important that everyone read the information about the measure, because I think there's some things that in there that would help clear up some of the misconceptions about it. Measure GG is strictly for improvements to the school, to fix urgently needed repairs, and to bring new technologies to the schools. It's not going to go into the general fund. It's not going to be controlled by the school. There will be an oversight committee, which will be in charge by law of determining how those monies will be used, and they will be used again specifically for school repairs and technology. One thing we have to keep in mind is that last time Inglewood was asked to be involved in a bond measure for the schools was 15 years ago. Since that time, the school districts of Hawthorne, El Segundo, and Redondo have passed 3 measures. LA Unified has passed 5 measures. The monies that were received 15 years ago certainly weren't enough to totally repair the schools. They were only just a start in the process. The $90 million asked for now are needed for urgent repairs. These are things that include repairing ceilings in schools, fixing the grounds around the schools, improving the electrical systems, the bathrooms, these types of things, the necessities that students need to be learning in an environment that's going to be conducive to their success. So that's what Measure GG is about. It's not something that's being done frivolously. It's being done in an effort to provide repairs that you absolutely need. And we talk to various students, and the environments that they're learning in affects their ability to learn. And one of the things that we need to do for the kids in Inglewood is to improve that environment, give them a chance, give them the same sorts of opportunities as the school, as the students in the surrounding school district.
Thank you.
Wait, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I have to get out of here. I mean, they're going on and on and on. This is ridiculous.
Good evening. My name is Dorothy. I'm in the 4th District. I have a problem with our voting area. We're kind of on the outskirts of Inglewood here. For the last 3 or 4 years, we have had problems over there, and now we don't have a polling place. I called Norwalk. They couldn't give me no answer. And I have a lot of the neighbors coming up to me. They're senior citizens asking how do they mail in their votes, because they never have before. We always have had polling places. So I would like for this body to tell me so I can tell them. There's a lady coming by in the morning so I can show her how to write up her mail-in vote. This is not the first time when we had an election for another person. It was not counted. We have been having problems over there. And I know, Mrs. Horton, you do very well. I call your office. I call Norwalk. So if you can get with me, I'll come when you tell me to, so we can try to work out our little area. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Close public comment, Madam City Clerk.
First, I want to start out by saying the County of Los Angeles is handling this election. It's not the City of Inglewood. And what has happened is many residents have called our office, and they're concerned because they have been now requested to vote in Los Angeles. Some are going as far as, I believe, Aldine is Western, I believe. What the county did was they split up the precincts. And so you can vote, like, they know what precinct you have, so they know what type of ballot you should have. So you may think that you're voting for a different congressperson. That is not so. They will administer the right ballot to you, and you should make sure of that as well. I mean, because if you get something that doesn't match up to what you know that you normally vote for, then you should question it and ask them. The interesting thing, when I was on the phone with the county, because we're having a very tough time, I just so happen to have a direct line into the county, so I called them, and I stayed on the phone for about an hour, back and forth, for Ms. Slide, and asking questions, and found out that her current polling place is even in exit. They're using it, but they took her precinct out and switched her over to Western. So I don't know what their reasoning is for that, but I can tell you this: if you do not want to travel that far, you can go to your original polling place if it exists. It has to exist, and you can vote provisional. I know, and it will get counted. It's just you're out of your precinct, and so you have to vote provisional because they don't have you down in their book. Anything that I could do to help any of the voters who may be frustrated through this time, I'll try. I even had a couple of employees here that need to have some assistance, and I called the county today and the line stayed busy. So now the in-line that I have it's busy. So it's a struggle. I don't mind doing it. That's my job. So if you're having any problems, please. Now for the lady who is, I think you were talking in reference to vote by mail? Okay, so if you want, you can come tomorrow. I don't know, or I'll give you my number. You can call me, and I can answer any of your questions and try to help you the best way I can. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Council comments. I'm going to start so you can start the clock. I wanted to tell everybody about a really horrific event that happened to a family on October 20th at the home of Philemon Lamas and his wife, Gloria Jimenez. At approximately 0400 hours, which is 4 in the morning, Desmond John Moses, an unemployed security guard and welder, began an attack on the Lamas home. Dressed in dark clothing, a cap, a painter's mask, and bullet-resistant body armor, and carrying a .38 caliber revolver, Moses attempted to light fires at 4937 West 99th Street, the Lamas residence, and 4941 West 99th Street, the residence of Ms. Jimenez's brother, Miguel. He fired several gunshots into Miguel's residence, but nobody was struck. The commotion awoke Gloria Jimenez, who walked to the front door of the residence and saw the fire. She began to shout that the house was on fire, and she opened the front door to get everyone out. Gloria Jimenez was confronted by Moses, who shot her several times. Gloria ran to the bathroom to get away from Moses, then moved into the house, where he located Philemon and his children in a bedroom. Moses opened fire, killing Philemon and his 4-year-old son, Giovanni. Moses wounded his daughter, Philemon's daughter, Crystal, age 8, and son, Ricardo, age 6. He then exited the home and returned to his residence and to the back of the property, which is at 4939 West 99th. It's believed that Moses then started a fire in his residence, although it's not unclear when this occurred, and then took his own life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. This was a multi-jurisdictional response from fire department, our police department, and our chief was present. It was handled professionally and excellently, but our hearts go out to this family. The police department has opened up a donations hotline so that people can donate for this family. In fact, in response to this tragic and senseless crime, Chief Mark Fronterata and the men and women of the Inglewood Police Department, in close coordination with the Lamas and Jimenez families, have established a fund to assist the surviving family members during this traumatic period. Any donation, large or small, will be graciously accepted and appreciated. Proceeds will assist with the family's immediate and future needs. Donations can be made at the IC Federal Credit Union at 1 Manchester Boulevard, Suite 603 on the 6th floor here in City Hall in Inglewood. The account number for donations to the Lamas family is number 5223. Also, we've had questions about cameras in our city, and as I talked about almost a year and a half ago, we had long ago applied for buffer zone protection grant funds, and we'll explain what this is again. The buffer zone protection grant is a grant through the Homeland Security for the protection of chlorine contaminated contained within the water treatment plant. This grant was specifically applied for to build an infrastructure for a citywide camera system, but puts emphasis on the water treatment plant. Technology took over this project once the grant was approved. This project is currently in its first phase. The first phase consists of cameras being installed at the water treatment plant, as well as the 4 water wells located on 102nd Street, Yukon, 118th Street, and 120th Street. We are currently waiting for the cameras to be installed on the City Bank building at Imperial Crenshaw because of the MOU that the mayor had to sign at that time, myself. Once it's signed, the camera will be installed and phase 1 will be complete. The second phase of this project is the implantation of the current cameras of City Hall and the police department. We're currently waiting for a quote by the company Leverage for this phase. So we had that tragic event in Darby Park. Councilman Stevens, was it last Saturday? Yes. A couple Saturdays ago. And we know we've always had questions about Manchester and Crenshaw. So this backbone, this infrastructure is meant to be put in place, and then we will be placing cameras at strategic places throughout the city. But one thing that I want to caution everyone about, there will never be enough cameras to be and see everything that you'd want to see in a park. Our focus is probably going to be first on problematic intersections so that we can record cars and people at our most populous intersections. And I want to, well, I'll close the meeting later. Councilman Franklin, we're going to different order today.
No, Mayor, I just want to close the meeting in honor of the family, and you're going to do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, Councilman Morales.
Likewise, you did a good job covering. It was a tragic event. Had the opportunity to speak to some of the families on the block. They're all kind of grief-stricken, so our condolences go out to all of them. And I really want to point out that our police chief and the police department, should be commended in how they handled this particular situation. So that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Dunlap.
Oh, yes. Also, my condolences to the family. It was very, very, very tragic. And I think whenever I would see things on the television, newspaper, it just made you cry. It was so horrific, so horrific. I would like to make a couple of comments with regard to what the public had to say. Someone mentioned about audio recordings being banned from the public from using at the speaker's podium, and I support members of the public using their 3 minutes in any fashion they wish to use them at the conclusion of a meeting. So if they have audio recordings that they believe pertain to something they want to represent, to me, I'm just saying that I support that use. With regard to some comments made at the forum program on our NASA astronauts, I would like to share my concerns that I was actually at the forum property 3 times on Friday, which is the day before the event, and learned that our NASA astronauts, which were our special guests, were not even going to be placed on the stage. I attempted to correct that, speaking with the staff that were involved. The next day, on Saturday, I got there very early. I was there very early, and saw that they were still not on the stage. They were in the audience, and I thought that was completely unacceptable. That's what people came to see, not only the Endeavor, which was fantastic, but the astronauts who were there, who flew on the Endeavor. And it was only at the last minute that they were taken up on the stage, but they were set in seats that had been reserved for other people. So I'm glad whoever took that action at the last minute at least did that, because they needed to be on the stage. I also believe that the astronauts should have been given an opportunity to speak. That's what the children wanted to hear. They wanted to hear something from the astronauts. And not only did we have 3 Endeavour astronauts, but we had Walter Cunningham was there, and he was the lunar module pilot for Apollo 7. And he actually came in from Houston, Texas on his own, just to be there with us. And it was 44 years and 2 days to the anniversary of his flight. And he actually asked to be allowed to speak for just a couple of minutes to the children, and he was denied that privilege. I found that very disturbing. So anyway, none of the astronauts got to speak. We were happy to see them. But I'm saying when we look back on that fabulous day, there are things that were overlooked and could have been done better. And I am a little embarrassed to say that the NASA astronauts were delegated to the chairs out in the audience, not even on the stage, which was by plan, and then not permitted to speak for whatever reason. But I know I personally attempted to get Mr. Cunningham to speak. I spoke to staff and I said, Mr. Cunningham is asked to speak for 1 or 2 minutes. Please permit him, put him on, add him to the schedule, to the program, and he was denied that. So anyway, thank you, Mayor. I want to remind people on Thursday, day after tomorrow, the 25th, District 2 Town Hall meeting right here in City Hall on the first floor. You're all invited to attend. Thank you.
Councilman Stevens.
Yes, my condolences also go out to the Lamas family. In reference to audio recordings, I personally have no problem with audio recordings being played at the podium. I am not the chairperson of the meeting, so I have no control over whether an individual can play them or not, just for the record. Reference to Darby Park slurry sealing, that has been something that has been on our agenda, on our radar, and we have actually made progress with that over the past year. One positive about Darby Park that you will be seeing is new playground equipment, as well as also adult exercise equipment will be installed at Darby Park, as well as also Edward Vincent Park. Played a very instrumental role in that. And so that will be installed, and matter of fact, it's being installed right now over at Edward Vincent Park. Mr. City Manager, the school police are burning out our front lawn here on the Manchester side of City Hall. At 2:30, between 2:30 and 3:15, school police park their vehicles on our lawn right there. And if you notice, if you take a look out your main window, you'll see there's a brown spot there. And the reason why that grass is burning out is because that's where they park their cars. As the children leave Crozier as well as Inglewood High School, they transcend that area right there, and they are parking their vehicles there. And now what's happening is we're going to get a brown patch there. And so what I would like to see you take action on that issue. I guess that's about it. I'd like for everyone to drive home safely. Mr. Mayor, I hope you feel better, and thank you very much.
All right. We're going to adjourn the meeting in the name of Philemon Lamas and Giovanni Lamas, age 4. We're adjourned.